Da 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 da. All right. I have 9 spiritual lessons from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. And it's funny because I was starting to do this opening, and I saw this rock here. And if you remember the openings of Raiders of the Lost Ark and the actually maybe this rock would work out better, and Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, and the third one, it sort of has that Paramount Pictures mountain. Remember? Maybe there. That's a good, the Paramount Picture mountain right there. Oh, there it is. I think that's it. That's it. All right. So I have 9 spiritual lessons. It came out in 1989. Steven Spielberg, Harrison Ford. So this is what I came up with. This is my interpretation through the lens of non-duality, unity, consciousness, spirituality. All right. Lesson number 1. Immortality. Immortality. So basically the whole film is around the villain. His name is Donovan. He's like a millionaire, right? And he wants to find the Holy Grail, the chalice, the cup of Christ. For he, we got, life goes on, got some trains going on. He who drinks from the cup of life lives forever, right? So immortality. So, you know, this is egoic stuff. I mean, even there's some rich people today who want to freeze their body. They want to live for, you know, or live to 150, 100, you know, whatever. And it's very silly, especially when you awaken to your true eternal self. You're like, you know, wanting to live forever in this form, you know, it's become silly, right? So the villain wants to live, achieve immortality. Again, because when you awaken to your eternal truth, there is no time. There is no living forever. You just are. And then the other note I have is that, so seeking enlightenment can also be an egoic endeavor. Like, I am going to become enlightened, and I'm going to have all these great superpowers, and I'm going to do all this stuff, and blah, blah, blah. Spoiler alert. That's ego. Okay, the ego wants to become enlightened. Spoiler alert, the ego cannot awaken. The ego doesn't become enlightened. You integrate the ego after awakening, but the ego isn't, because you are already here. And, you know, you're already an eternal spirit. You just don't know it. It's revealed to you. It's an inside job. So check the ego. If the ego wants to get enlightened, that's one of the veils, one of the stumbling blocks, and why it isn't happening. So, and then there's 3 challenges that we're going to get to that can be helpful for you to awaken. That can be helpful. So basically, the search for immortality is what gets this story going, right? Gets what going. All right. So spiritual lesson number 2, the hero's journey. So Joseph Campbell, famous for the hero's journey, and Indiana Jones is sort of the epitome of the hero's journey, you know, go on the quest. So this is the quest that he has to go on. And in Raiders of the Lost Ark, he goes on a quest to, and even the second one, Temple of Doom. I'm not going to mention the other ones. There's there's supposed to be one coming out this summer. Oh my God. Sometimes you just have to stop. You know, some movies just 3 movies are enough, right? I'm talking to you, Star Wars. No. The hero's journey, you go on a journey. So this is a hero's spiritual journey. So this is a journey that you go on and you don't know what's going to happen. That's the true journey. That's the true spiritual journey, is giving up control. Okay? And when the hero's journey, they go out and they die to their old self, right? So that's what this is about. It's about dying to the old self. And then you bring something back to the community. You bring the knowledge, the wisdom, the nectar to the community, right? So it's a hero's journey. And it's tough and it's hard. And it takes a warrior's sensibility. It takes a warrior, because it's hard with giving up this world, right? It's giving up the illusion, dying to the self. But you'll be transformed. You'll be transformed. So the hero's journey. So this is a hero's journey that everybody undertakes, just like an Indiana Jones, okay? All right, spiritual lesson number 3 from Indiana Jones, The Last Crusade. There's Nazis in this movie, and they actually go visit Hitler, right? So the spiritual lesson here is that the Nazis, they represent the shadow, the dark side that we all need to face and we need to heal, okay? This is one of the most sort of overlooked or not talked about as much in spirituality, because spirituality wants to be all happy and joy and, you know, peaceful, and it is peaceful, and there's a lot of joy. But as you deepen and you need to heal the shadow aspect of you, right? The pain bodies, right? You have to face the hatred that you have, the wanting to create enemies, the lust, the power, the hungry power, the greed, like this villain in this movie. He wants to achieve immortality. He thinks that external thing is going to make him happy, right? You think having all this money and having all these things and having power, it's going to make you happy, make you important in this world. Those are shadow aspects, you know, intolerance and creating enemies. Again, so these are things you need to heal as you awaken to your true eternal self. Otherwise, you're not free. Otherwise, you're just somebody who had an awakening. But you're not free. You're still triggered by people honking their horn, or the news, or politics, or whatnot. So you're not free. You're not free. You're not a true liberated being. So true peace comes to those who heal their shadow, right? So, and we all have an inner not see, if you want to call that. We all have our inner darkness, our shadows. So we all need to face those, okay? So that's an important thing. All right, so I should have mentioned this earlier, but you know, if you haven't seen the movie, you should see the movie first because there's spoilers. So Indiana Jones goes into the cave. He has 3 challenges, right? So this is near the end of the movie, Act 3. So the 3 challenges. So the first one is the breath of God. Only the penitent man will pass. Penitent is somebody who's sorry, somebody who is humble, somebody who gets on their knees. Forgiveness, right? A little earlier, there was a guy who tries to get through this challenge, and these blades came and, you know, cut off his head. So Indiana Jones realizes, with the help of his dad, they're sort of channeling each other. So he gets on his knees and he's humble, and he sort of tumbles forward, and he gets through the challenge 1. He gets through challenge number 1. Right. So being humble, getting on your knees, you're destroying the ego, right? You're being humble. Less self, more God is what I wrote down. Not my will, but your will be done, right? So I got some people here, so they're sitting down, so I'm gonna go over here. See, you never know what's gonna happen. You just gotta go with it. So that's the first challenge. So being humble, letting go, right? So the second challenge, the Word of God. Only in the footsteps of God will he proceed. So this one, Indiana Jones has to go through, you could see like there's bricks on the floor. So there's like letters in the bricks, right? Letters that spell out Jehovah, right? And he kind of steps on the wrong one. It's not a J, but an I in Latin. It's sort of, you know, kind of a funny moment. And he almost falls to his death, right? So walk in the footsteps of God. So to me, that means presence. Walk in the footsteps of presence. Be present. Be in the now. Accepting of the now, right? Accepting of the now. Walk in the footsteps. So surrendering, acceptance of the now. That's walking in the footsteps of God, and then you proceed, okay? So that's another great lesson for awakening. Okay, the third challenge. So this is a great one. The path of God. Only the leap from the lion's head will he prove his worth. So if you remember in the film, he's like at this abyss, right? He's like at this abyss where there's an opening on the other side, and he has to get to that opening, and yet there's like this cavern below. There's this cavern below, and he can't jump it. So it becomes this leap of faith, right? It becomes this leap of faith. He's told to have trust. You see, that's what it's about. It's about trust. Trust in unseen forces. Trust. This is a huge one. Again, giving up control. Trust, you know, trusting, you're giving up control of the steering wheel, right? And I remember watching this in the theater when it came out, and I was like, wow. I was like, I did not see this coming. So Indiana Jones takes that step, right? And he's gonna die. I mean, it's like, you're gonna die. You can see no way out. He's gonna fall to his death. But he has trust. And then suddenly he takes the step, and it's all right. And we learn through the camera moving that it's a rock bridge that was camouflaged with the rocks below, right? So trust. So, I mean, this is very powerful. Do you have that trust to let go, to go on the spiritual path, right? Because you don't know what's going to happen. You do not know what's going to happen. You do not have control. So, and this is why I think a lot of people, it's hard for them to go on the spiritual path, or they don't go on the spiritual path. It's because they don't trust. They want what the ego wants. They want the ego, what the ego wants their their spiritual journey to be. But that's not true trust. Okay. All right. So, spiritual lesson number 7. So they go through those challenges, and they get to the chalice room, and they're picking, Indiana Jones's dad got shot. And so he there's a time, he needs to get the chalice to his dad to save his dad, right? But the villain then gets a chance to pick. The villain then gets a chance, he wants to drink from it. So the villain and the cohort, a female Nazi, she picks it for him. This big gold chalice with jewels on it, right? And the villain drinks from it, who wanted immortality. And they were warned that if it's not that if you drink from the wrong one, you're going to die, right? So he drinks it, and then he kind of shrivels up, gets old, and he dies, right? And the guy from there's a knight, an old knight, even though he's supposed to have immortality, says he chose poorly. He chose poorly, right? So and then Indiana Jones chooses his chalice for his dad. And the one that they pick is a mundane chalice, the chalice of a carpenter, right? And this is very key, because it's in the mundane, it's in the now, it's ordinary life that's where it's all at. We think that, people on the spiritual path, they think that, that the now is, or that enlightenment is bells and whistles and you know, gold and jewels and all, you know, but it's not. It's just average, like the chalice of a carpenter. All right, that's what it's all about. Because it's not what you think. You think it's ordinary. It's just life going on. See, you can see there's life going on around me, people around me, cars going by, trains going by. This is it. If you don't get it here, you don't have to go to India or Sedona or, you know, these quote-unquote spiritual places. Not saying that they can't be helpful, but I'm just saying it's here right now. Okay, so that's lesson number 7. So lesson number 8, so at the end, so he saves his father, and just moving a little back here. There's people talking. Oh. And they can't cross the seal. They can't like leave with the chalice, right? That's sort of like one of the conditions. And they try to leave and they break the seal. So the earthquake. So there's earthquake happens, and the chalice gets stuck over here on an earthquake ledge, and so this so the lady Nazi, she wants to grab it, and Indiana Jones can't hold her anymore, so she dies. That greed wanting it, right? Wanting the eternal life, right? The greed. And then Indiana Jones, dad, he kind of falls, and his dad grabs him, and Indiana Jones tries to grab it too. And his dad says, let it go. Let it go. Indiana, let it go. So that's it, letting go. You need to let go. Let go all your notions of enlightenment, spirituality. Let go of the grasping. Become desireless. Desirelessness, right? Letting go. Letting go and let God. So that was a key moment. So yeah, so there's all these great little nuggets in this film, right? Spiritual lessons. All right, so number 9. So this is the last lesson. So if you remember the opening of the film, it's like it's a circus, right? There's a train going by, and young Indiana Jones is trying to retrieve a archaeological artifact that was stolen, or, you know, whatever, from a site. And I just thought the circus is great because it's a metaphor for life is a circus. This incarnation is a circus. You know, it's a play, it's a dance, and it's a circus. I mean, there's death-defying acts, right? It's trapeze, right? There's, you know, 3-ring circus. Those clowns, you know. It's wild, right? So this life is a circus. I just thought that was cool. And it's a grand circus. All right, so here are some end notes that I came up with. There's a motif of lions, right? Richard the Lionhearted, right? Of the Crusade. There's lion heads at the end where they have to go past some lion heads to start the challenges. And of course the lion in the circus train where young Indiana Jones takes his whip and he kind of cuts himself, like Harrison Ford has that sort of scar there. So lions, and it reminded me of either Thai Buddhism or Zen Buddhism. I don't know. There's a story of being devoured by a lion or tiger, you know, lion that the ego death is like you're being eaten up, you're being shredded, torn up by a lion. So I just thought that was cool. It could feel that way, but that's sort of like the metaphor. Okay, it's called the Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. The Last Crusade. So crusade is a struggle. It's for change. This could be seen as a spiritual battle. It could feel like a battle, but it's really not a battle. It's just like it. But I like the word crusade for change, and it could seem like a struggle. Okay. As you awaken to your true eternal self, going on the spiritual path. Okay, and then lastly, and warriors go on the crusade. So it takes a warrior. It's tough to do this. Okay, at the end, Indiana asks his dad what he got out of it, and his dad says, me. His dad says, me. Illumination. His dad says illumination. So meaning your true eternal self. Illumination. That's what happens. Right? So, all right. So that's what I got. Those are what I got. We got a little gathering here, a little party. See, you get the balloons. See, life goes on. It's beautiful. Life is beautiful. So those are the lessons I got from from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. And hope you enjoyed this and see the movie. And it's a great movie. And hope you enjoyed this and love you. And until we meet again next time in the life is a circus. Drink from the chalice of this beautiful now moment. Gug, 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 gug.